It's the Wait a Minute Show.
Bruh. Ain't that right, Lopan? Wait a minute. Book it. Really? Really?
The Wait a Minute Show with your host, Jolani J.B. Bodie.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your man, Jelani J.B. Bodie, and we are here for another episode of The Wait a Minute Show here on the waitaminuteshow.com and on the YouTube channel. Like I said, I am Jelani J.B. Bodie, and with me, over there in the corner, as they always are, is my humble co-host, if you want to consider it like that, but Lopan is in the building as well.
Indeed.
Yeah, so, it's been a very interesting week, to say the least, with the world of sports. So got NBA news, Sarver, Ben Simmons, Thursday night football. That was crazy. We're going to talk about my 3-pack for the NFL for week 3. We'll get into that. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, week 3-pack is back in the building. So I'll be talking about games to keep an eye on this coming Sunday in the NFL, and at the end of the show, we're going to do a Big L award, right? I'm going to give someone a Big Loser award because they deserve it. I'll just say all that. So let's go ahead and get into this thing. Probably the biggest thing that went down this week, and that happened in Boston, is now suspended head coach Ime Udoka for the Boston Celtics has been served a 1-year suspension by the Boston Celtics. This whole thing is about multiple infractions, is what the report that we're getting right now. And we're not getting all the details, but it does reportedly out there involve a relationship with a woman who is staffed by the Boston Celtics. That is the report that is out there right now. So, and a lot of people, everybody's saying consensual relationship, because they want to make sure that everybody doesn't, see this as maybe something different. But what I am going to say on this is that when the news first came out, and this thing has went fast. All right. It has went fast as far as like the process. Now, the investigation, come to find out, this thing started back in July, and obviously it went in depth, and it has been going on for a while. But as far as the suspension that has been put out there, now the Boston Celtics announced this yesterday, and it was already rumored that he could get, for the entire season. So that comes out, and then right behind it, now this could have been already, planned out and already known, but I'm just going off of, what I do know. And the first thing that kind of made me scratch their head a little bit, it was when they handed out the suspension. And I'm thinking like, okay, Ime is going to, maybe speak about this later, or there's going to definitely be questions. Somebody's going to want to talk to him. Somebody's going to want to sit down and everything. But immediately after that suspension came out, he went ahead and put out a presser and talked about what you would expect, apologies, fans, family members, everybody about this situation, and that he accepts the penalty, right? And then what really got me started thinking, and I pumped the brakes on this whole thing, is that he said, I'm not going to talk about this any further going on. And I'm just paraphrasing. I'm not quoting him. But basically, it's just like, I acknowledged it. I accept, what my responsibility in this matter. We're going to move forward, and we're not going to talk about this anymore. And I was like, wow, that happened fast, really fast. Was there at a point, was there a conversation, maybe, to challenge this year-long suspension? The reports that was out there was that he was given the option to resign or get fired or take the suspension, right? And I guess he took the suspension. But more importantly than that, with all that stuff happening, and then for it to be a year, because people were already talking about this thing, saying, oh, the year is too long because he's, it was consensual and this, and I just thought, I'm like, something's not adding up. Something's not adding up. And when he, accepted the penalty and basically said, yeah, I'm accepting the responsibility, for it. I just want to move on. Sounds like he's trying to get ahead of it. There's more to this story. There's more to it than what we know, right? More than what we know at this point. And that's where I told Lopan, I said, look, don't say anything. Everybody, if you follow me on social media, I pointed out, and it is true, they were going to talk about Nia Long, a lot, on this, but this is not, it's not necessarily, about this. It's other stuff that's going on. It plays into a part in this whole thing. Don't get me wrong, but this thing just made me think that this thing goes deeper because they gave him a year, right? So if it was solely just he was messing around with another female at work, which is against their code of conduct policy for the Boston Celtics, you would think like, okay, maybe he get a month or something like that, but a year, that was the red flag for me, where I was thinking there's more to this. Let's wait. And this is what I told people. Let's wait. So now it come out that there's, multiple infractions, on this thing. I still think it's more stuff to it. I see Matt Barnes. He's on Instagram. Matt Barnes spoke out, at some point previously. I don't know if he was in support, but whatever it was, he said he didn't have all the facts. He didn't have all the information. He came back and he apologized. So shouts out to Matt Barnes for doing that. Because some people, they won't. They'll just keep, moving on and act like they didn't say anything. But he did say in that post that he made was that he found out, and I believe this because he's close to the NBA. He's close to inner circles. He's close to getting information that we're not privy to. But he knows something. He's not going to talk about it. But what was reported to him totally made him switch around and change his stance, on it. And that, along with the suspension and how fast that process went, and they did the press conference and everything, that just tells me this thing is not completely over with. There is some other things that are out there that we may find out, we may never find out. But I do believe that there are some other things out there that has been taken into consideration when it comes to this year-long suspension. So you hear me sometimes on here and I say, hey, let's give it a little bit of time. Let's not jump the gun. This is one of those times, ladies and gentlemen. We don't need to jump the gun. We don't need to get out there and talk about or do something, because a lot of people have been doing that. And it's just really, really making this thing, messy. More than what it already is. But at the end of the day, Ime, he did something. He's paying the price, for it. Whatever it is, to the capacity of whatever it is, that remains to be seen. And this was a move that the Boston Celtics, had to make. Now, of course, we still got to talk about, sports, and this is how is this going to impact the Boston Celtics? Well, training camp is right around the corner. Training camp is starting next week, and this team just came off a NBA Finals appearance, and you already know they were thinking about getting back to the finals. It went 6 games. I'm sure they're looking at it as what mistakes we made that we're not going to make again, and there were some that were just big mistakes that I'm sure Boston was thinking they're corrected. Now they're going to go through this. One, with the situation that just happened. So they're going to deal with that, at least on the front end, of him not being there, of their coach not being there. But now they're going into this with a interim coach. Basically, one of the assistant coaches is going to take over. Brad Stevens has already said he's not going to coach. And look, they brought in Udoku for this reason, because they wanted to get to the finals, and he got them to the finals. Brad Stevens was there before. He couldn't get them over the hump. It's not guaranteed that a replacement coach is going to come in and make the necessary moves and all the, the things that goes with running an NBA franchise for an entire season. So Boston is already starting. I'm not going to say in the hole or anything like that, but they already are starting with a challenge. Let's just say that with how is the new coach going to make these adjustments? How is the new coach going to build off of this? How is the new coach going to keep everybody, together on this? They may unite and galvanize themselves just in general because, they may take it as us against the world with this, but this is a challenge for Boston. So, where people might have had Boston as a favorite to get back to the finals, you really got to think, second think that, now, along with the other stuff that, that just happened in the NBA. But this is a tough situation, for the Boston Celtics. So they're in a little bit of a pickle. I mean, the players are still there. They're going to play, but the situation has turned different, right? So, excuse me. We had a game Thursday night. Pittsburgh versus Cleveland. And look, I had the Pittsburgh Steelers winning this game. That didn't happen. They ended up losing 27 to, what was it? 29 to 17. 29 to 17, Lopan. Thank you for correcting me. Indeed. I didn't really mean thank you for correcting me. You didn't have to. I corrected myself. But anyway, Cleveland won this game, man, and they won this behind actually 3 guys. Look, and they didn't even give see, I got email in my head and I can't even say it. So I'm gonna pull it up while I'm talking and have give this prop man his props. But Nick Chubb and Amari Cooper both, Nick Chubb ran over 100 yards. Amari Cooper also had 100 yards receiving. Both players received touchdowns from, Jacoby Brissett threw a touchdown to Amari Cooper and Nick Chubb got into the end zone on a 4th and 1 play. And Njoku, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, and Njoku even got over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown as well from Jacoby Brissett. So this was really predicated on the running game. Watching this game, it just looks like we already knew with Kareem Hunt and with Nick Chubb, this was an excellent 1A, 1B, or whatever you want to call it, 1-2 power punch in a running back, game. And they basically just wore down the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it didn't help, that they couldn't produce, the Pittsburgh Steelers couldn't produce the offense that they're usually accustomed to producing on the offensive side of the ball. But this was Cleveland I won't even say made it amends, but they got some get back from the game against the Jets. We already know they shouldn't have lost that game. And they were going to come out and they were going to show everybody that they meant business, that they weren't going to, fold. And I give them credit, for that. And Jacoby Brissett, big ups to him. He looked like he was in a heck of a rhythm with his teammates, especially Amari Cooper. This is the second 100-yard game with a touchdown that him and Amari Cooper has hooked up for. So Jacoby Brissett is holding it down for the Cleveland Browns. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, you had some moments, everybody talked about the George Pickens catch. That was an amazing catch. Don't get me wrong. That was, some stuff like, wow. But at the end of the day, they lost the game. So you're only going to be talking about it so much. Najee Harris was not as effective as they would want him to be. He still got into the end zone, which was good, for him. But they didn't have enough offensive firepower to keep up with the ground game. And you got to remember that ground game, it's going to be eating up clock, eating up the time, and, keeping your defense out there and wearing your defense down. So Cleveland Browns did a good job, in that they get the win early. Now they get a 10-day rest period to get ready for their next game. And Pittsburgh, you sit there and then you start asking questions as far as like what's going on, because this is normally not how the Pittsburgh Steelers start. And we are not asking, some of the questions that we're already asking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. But it's a lot of time left in the season. Mike Tomlin doesn't look like he's worried at all. Things can turn around. It's week 3. We've seen it before. It's going to be tough because I don't think anyone expected Cleveland to be where they're at right now. They were thinking more. They had to worry about Cincinnati and Baltimore. But now you still got to worry about all 3, in this. So all of these teams are still in it in the division. But very good game. Very good game that went down. And congratulations to the Cleveland Browns for proving me wrong. I picked the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I should have picked Cleveland.
Indeed.
Anyway, Lopan. So let's take a break. When we come back from the break, we'll talk about the other side of the ball, the offensive side, a little bit more, and Mitchell Trubisky. So Mike Tomlin's not worried. How not worried is he? Remains to be seen. We'll discuss that and more on the other side of the break. Lopan, do the break thing instead of trying to correct me. Jeez. Do you want your next Atlanta event to be memorable? If so, have Drink in Color at your next function. Drink in Color is sophisticated bartending that creates signature cocktails for your special occasion. Wow your family, friends, and business associates next time with Drink in Color. You can contact the owner, Kiki Lewis, at 678-813-7102. That's 678-813-7102. You can also email her at drinkincolor@gmail.com and follow on Instagram at drinkincolor. And tell her you were referred by the Wait a Minute Show. Drink in Color, cocktail catering. Let the cocktail sparkle at your next event.
Do you like making an impression? Who doesn't? Well, when you want to dress to impress for less, check out Rail Scott at Prime Ties to Go on Facebook and Instagram. Quality accessories for men and women at low prices. Everything from ties, bow ties, watches, bracelet, earrings to pocketbooks. Don't miss out. Check out Rail Scott, the owner, at Prime Ties to Go. That's Prime Ties, the number 2, Go, on Facebook and Instagram.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and you are listening to or watching.
It's the Wait a Minute Show.
I gotta get that audio out of my head. It's been ingrained for years, but you're watching the Wait a Minute Show. So let's try that again. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching.
It's the Wait a Minute Show.
There we go. On the YouTube channel and also by way of the waitaminuteshow.com. So let's get back into this. We're talking about Mitchell Trubisky, right? So right now, Mike Tomlin has said that he is not making a quarterback change at this moment. He's going to stick with Mitchell Trubisky. And I guess the question is, how long? How long? Because you've had 3 games now. You got a small sample size of kind of what your offense is, kind of what it is. And people have talked about, that Mitchell plays it safe. He doesn't want to take chances. Sometimes his accuracy is off. And basically just saying he's playing. I don't want to use scared, because you don't go out there on the field and be scared. Now, you might be fearful or something like that because there's some dangerous guys out there, but not scared, right? If you were scared, you wouldn't even be out there. But I think he's fearful of making a mistake and it costing him, or he thinks through it too much, where it's just like you gotta just let the ball go, or you just gotta go out there and just play. And for me, it's like there's nothing for Mitchell Trubisky to lose, because people are already expecting him to get replaced by Kenny Pickett sooner than later. He didn't have, the greatest success in Chicago. And I know this is, pretty much an audition for another team, because Kenny Pickett is going to be starting at some point. And Mr. Trubisky is doing what he feel he needs to do so he can set himself up for the next opportunity. Now, not at the expense of the team. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything like that. But I do think that's in his head. It's like, hey, I'm going to do what I can here and try and make this thing work, somewhere else. I'm sure that's at least a part in it. And unless we're talking about Kenny Pickett just being horrible. And that hasn't been the reports, on Kenny Pickett. But we do expect it to happen at some point, because if they keep losing games and offensively, they don't get the production, it's going to stick with the quarterback, and they're going to be, pointing fingers. And at some point, Mike Tomlin is going to have to make the change. But even if Kenny Pickett is the guy, I don't think they think he's ready as of right now, because Kansas City, they had a guy in Alex Smith that was awesome, for them. And then they had a guy in Pat Mahomes that was sitting behind him. Now, and in no way am I comparing Kenny Pickett to Pat Mahomes before everybody gets all in an uproar. But what I'm saying is that they had a plan, and they were like, look, Pat will be ready by X amount of time. And if we're still struggling, we'll make that move. And I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are thinking that way. With the progression that Kenny is making, what we see and everything, if Mitch keeps struggling or he keeps playing, a certain way, then Kenny will be in here at a certain point. I don't think they want to put him in there sooner than later. We've seen how you can ruin quarterbacks that way. They're playing with house money. Look, they haven't had a losing season under Mike Tomlin, and Pittsburgh had success in the division and get into the playoffs. So they believe in themselves, and they're just going to have to, work through this. But please believe there is a date for Mitchell Trubisky. Whether they know it or not, there is still a date that they may have to make a change. So could be bye week, could be, I don't know. But Mike Tomlin, as of right now, he believes in Mr. Trubisky. Has to believe in Mr. Trubisky. Him not believing in him, that's not going to help anything, help the team out. That's not going to help the situation out at this point. What is that going to benefit? Coming out saying what fans are talking about, oh, this guy stinks or something like that. What is that going to do? Mr. Trubisky going to say, you know what? Since you said that, now I'm motivated, or, I got inspired, and I'm going to, no, that's not what he's going to say. So this is about managing people, managing emotions, managing characters, and everything that Mike Tomlin is in charge of. So, but trust me, he's watching, and he'll make the move when he feel the time is right. Speaking of moves, the move has been made, ladies and gentlemen. And this probably would have been the biggest story if Ime situation hadn't came out, but Robert Sarver, and he was, heading the beginning of the week with his situation where he received a 1-year ban and a $10 million fine, which you had players come out, LeBron, Chris Paul, Draymond Green, among others, Matt Barnes, that came out, and they just said, that's not enough. That's not good enough. And what happened is, people felt it wasn't good enough. So somebody, hey man, I think it's time. I think you need to go ahead. Yeah, somebody got it in his ear, and they said, sell that team, bro. Get on up out of here. It's not going to be a good look for you. Now, they were talking about Adam Silver and some other folks, got in his ear, whoever it is, the sponsors, where it was going to impact money and all this stuff, whatever. But the right people got in his ear and told him to sell the team. He said he's going to sell the team, right? Now, the only problem with that is that Robert Sarver is still going on, basically trying to convince everybody. He's like, well, wait, I'm still a good person. Some things happened, some things went on, and in the environment that we live now, they're not going to let me survive, this and everything. And I'm paraphrasing. I'm not quoting him, but he didn't get it still. He didn't get it. He talked about the good that he did. And it's like, okay, yes, no one's going to, doubt that, but you can't, long as you're doing good, doesn't mean you get a pass to do bad. And this is not something where in the past 6 months, they did an investigation on you, and this happened recently. This is behavior that has went on over a decade, almost 2 decades, that you have continued this type of behavior. And you can't have that in the workplace. You can't go around in the workplace using the N-word. Nobody can. You can't go around talking to women any old kind of way, right? You can't say it just because you own the team, just because you're in power, and just because you're thinking, hey, but I do all this other stuff. Look, I hired Monty Williams. He's black, so I don't have anything wrong. I don't have anything with black people. Hey, James Jones, he's the general manager. Look at what I did. Yeah, you did do that. And then you went right behind it and started saying crazy stuff. That's not a workplace environment that people want to be a part of. And maybe one day he'll put 2 and 2 together, but it won't be as the owner of the Phoenix Suns or the Mercury at this point. So you hope he learns. I don't know if he will, but yes, you hire someone, but then you can't come in there and just disrespect them, and then it's actually as if you're trying to say, I did you a favor, so you can at least let me do this. No, it's not gonna ride. So Robert Sarver is out of there. He's gonna be selling the team, and that team will be sold quickly. There's a lot of people that's gonna be involved with trying to buy the Phoenix Suns. So we're going to get back into some football. And this is the first of the season. Lopan, go ahead, bring it up. Yeah. Week 3 of the NFL. Yeah, so check it out right there. You see it right there. That Pittsburgh and Cleveland game, but then we got a slate of all the other games that's going to be going on for week 3 here. So all your teams are going to be playing because there's no bye week until week 6, I want to say. But I'm going to give you my 3-pack. I'm going to give you my 3-pack games that you should be watching. And I got an honorable mention because I was going back and forth with this and I didn't know if I was going to do it. But an honorable mention for the 3-pack was the San Francisco 49ers and Denver Broncos. And the reason I just, mentioned that is that it was more like which one of these teams is going to get it together, right? Trey Lance gets hurt for San Francisco. Jimmy comes in. What is the trajectory for the San Francisco 49ers? Russell Wilson. I mean, there is no riding right now in Denver right now. So it's just like, how can he get on that horse and ride, and get out there? So that was my honorable mention. But I got 3 teams that I'm going to talk about here. The first one we're about to find out. That's what matchup it is. And that is Buffalo versus Miami. Tua took his time and Tua took over the show last week with 6 touchdowns. Now they've beaten Miami, and now they've beaten New England, and they've beaten the Ravens. So they really are going to be able to test themselves against the Buffalo Bills because Buffalo is not playing any games. Buffalo lost that playoff game to the Chiefs last year, and I guarantee you they watched it, or they at least knew who went to the Super Bowl. Some of them probably didn't watch it, but they probably said, man, we would have ate the Rams up. And they got a little get back at the beginning of the season. So Miami's going to really get tested. We're going to find out really what this Miami team is about. I think Miami's, better than a lot of folks may think. I got them, at least making a run for the playoffs. I got Buffalo still winning the division, but it's just a numbers game. But I still do think that the Miami Dolphins would be in the running for the playoffs when it comes to the end of the season. And this, if Miami beats Buffalo, boy, I know Mocha Bella, who's a Miami fan, she's going to be losing her mind. And she's fans up. And I can't even do the, dolphin sound, but she's going to be ecstatic. But this is also going to let everybody know that Miami is you got to take them serious. And they got pieces. And they got talent. And if that running game stays steady for them, they're going to be a dangerous team. So this game, Buffalo against Miami, that's going to be a good game. Other one is going to be I guess the old men game at this point. Now he's an old man versus older man. And that is Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. So Green Bay versus Tampa Bay. I think that's going to be a good game to watch. It's an evening game. So obviously, the TV folks thinks it's going to be a good game, but anytime that they get together, it's always a matchup that they want. They've always probably just wanted it in the Super Bowl, but they never got it. For obvious reasons. But this is going to be, Mike Evans will not be there because he had a MMA match, last week. So he got suspended for a game, or WWE. That's what I've been saying all the time. Stay consistent, Jelani. WWE game. So he will not be playing in this game. Question marks there is just really who's going to line up, who's going to be the wide receivers there. Godwin is hurt. They signed Cole Beasley. You got Scotty Miller, you got Russell Gage. So it's going to be a rotation. I think it's a heavy prior dosage of Leonard Fournette that they're going to try and do. They saw, what Minnesota was able to do to Green Bay. They're going to try and replicate that. But I think more than anything is that the Bucs defense is going to try and really make Aaron Rodgers' life miserable. But can these wide receivers be able to handle that pressure that's going to be coming from the Tampa Bay defense? That's going to be interesting to see. So that is our second game that we have to look at. And last but not least is defending champs, the LA Rams. They're going to be taking on the Arizona Cardinals. So this is an NFC West matchup that's going on. Rams, Cardinals, Stafford, Murray. Murray dazzled everyone last week. Unfortunately, it came at the expense of my man, Jeff Fox, team of the Raiders. How they came back and how he did that was just, amazing. So without DeAndre Hopkins, and it doesn't look like, I don't know if he's going to have Rondale Moore, and James Conner may be out as well. He's day to day, but Kyler's been putting it on his back and trying to really will this team to a win. Matthew Stafford, they got back on the right side, of the win column, beating the Atlanta Falcons last week. So they're going to look to continue that. So you got an NFC West matchup between those two that should be pretty good, should be high powered, should be people running around all over the place with Kyler Murray and Aaron Donald probably chasing after him. I like it. Hopefully you'll like it as well. So those are our 3-pack for this week, for week 3. Let me see if I can remember without looking at my notes. We got Buffalo versus Miami, Green Bay versus Tampa Bay. That's 4 teams. And then what I just talked about, Rams versus Cardinals. So check it out Sunday. I think you agree with me. Those are some high-powered games to watch, right? So we're going to watch a break. And then when we come back from the break, I'll start finishing this thing up. And then I'm going to tell you who my Big L award is. Big Loser Award. Don't go anywhere.
Do you want your next Atlanta event to be memorable? If so, have Drinking Color at your next function. Drinking Color is sophisticated bartending that creates signature cocktails for your special occasion. Wow your family, friends, and business associates next time with Drinking Color. You can contact the owner, Kiki Lewis, at 678-813-7102. That's 678-813-7102. You can also email her at drinkandcolor@gmail.com and follow on Instagram at drinkandcolor. And tell her you were referred by the Wait a Minute Show. Drinking Color, cocktail catering. Let the cocktail sparkle at your next event.
Do you like making an impression? Who doesn't? Well, when you want to dress to impress for less, check out Rail Scott at Prime Ties to Go on Facebook and Instagram. Quality accessories for men and women at low, count it low prices. Everything from ties, bow ties, watches, bracelet, earrings to pocketbooks. Don't miss out. Check out Rail Scott the owner at Prime Ties to Go. That's Prime Ties, the number 2, Go on Facebook and Instagram.
He's the brain of operations.
I'm telling you right now, book it.
And him, he's along for the ride. But together, they bring you sports like you've never heard before. The Wait a Minute Show, a new way of discussing today's trending sports topics. And now, back to the show with your host, Jolani J.B. Bodie.
Indeed, Lupin. Indeed. So let's go ahead and finish this thing up. Let's talk about Ben Simmons, right? So Ben Simmons, the reason I want to talk about Ben Simmons, one, I saw he was talking with JJ Redick, and, they were talking about a series of things, but the one that, is highlighted out there is a game against the Hawks where, he had the wide open layup and he passed it, and everybody, went on and on about it. So he talked about that situation, and basically he just explained like how everything was just happening so fast, and he really wasn't scared of the moment. He thought he saw a body coming towards him. He didn't know it was Trae Young. Had he known it was Trae Young, yeah, he said he would have dunked it, but he thought he could dish it and pass it. So whether you agree with that or not, and all that's for another day. But now JJ did say you should have dunked it. Yeah, I agree. I agree with him, regardless of who was there. Even if Rudy Gobert was there, go for the dunk, right? You can't go wrong. If it goes down, it goes down. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But that got me thinking is that, you know what? I kind of forgot about Ben Simmons because we talked about KD not getting traded. We talked about Kyrie, not anything moving around. Kyrie was talking about they needed to lose in that first round. That was the motivation and all that stuff. So I was kind of thinking this two-man team, and James was in Philadelphia, but I forgot about Ben Simmons. How did I forget about Ben Simmons? That shouldn't even happen. But I think Ben Simmons, I think he's in a good spot now. I think he's in a place where he want to be. I hope, because I've seen it and other people have seen it, I hope that he expands his game. And when I say expand his game, what I mean by people talk about how he can't shoot and everything. When I say expand this game, I'm talking about the confidence in it, right? And just going ahead and taking those shots. Because some of them are going to go down, some of them are not. I've seen him shoot the shots. He's made those shots in practice before. So that's what I mean by expand his game. But Ben Simmons, I think he will fit in well with this team because it gives them a ball handler. It gives them somebody that you have to worry about. He's 6'10". He can take it to the basket if he needs to. He can post up. He can dish it off, of course. If he, puts together the consistent shooting or just putting up the shot to make him a threat that way, that expands his game, as well. So then you have three ball handlers that could easily put up 20 points each in KD, in Kyrie, in, Ben Simmons. So I look forward to what is on the cusp for Ben Simmons in the Brooklyn Nets. And I think he's looking to put this thing behind him. From that interview, just the small piece that I did see, seems like, he's in a space where he's ready to go. And I think we're going to see a different, Ben Simmons. And if he shows out and he's be different, people probably going to, they're not going to forget, but they're going to move on from what, previously transpired before. But I forgot about Ben Simmons, man. They just because he hadn't played, so kind of, out of sight, out of mind. But I expect him to come back. But Ben, shoot the ball, man. Go ahead, man. And put them shots up, man. Go ahead. You're making them shots anyway, man. We done seen it. We've seen it. It'll change. And then all that driving to the basket you doing, you can do that anytime you want, man, when they got to worry about you shooting. But what do I know? I ain't playing the NBA, right? So it's just, yeah. Usually that's where Lopan come in and he say something slick or whatever. But he was eating a hoagie, so he couldn't say anything. So I'm glad about that. But Ben Simmons, man, good year coming from him. This last thing, this is just really, I'm mentioning this is kind of crazy. Well, not crazy, and I'm not surprised, by it. But it's like, dang, that's where we at though. So Herman Edwards was just fired this week from Arizona State after they lost to Eastern Michigan. I almost went to Eastern Michigan. Wow. I didn't even know why I brought that up. But Herman Edwards was released of his duties, or they parted ways after they lost to Eastern Michigan. And now this report has come out that they had been trying to get him out of there. And they, who is they? I don't know who they are, but I guess it was staffers, people that was on the staff at Arizona State, because it was reported that they were leaking intel to the opponents to try and speed up this process to get Herm Edwards out of there. Now, am I surprised by that? No. I'm pretty sure for years, if not decades, that people have leaked information to other teams because they were mad at somebody at that team, or they were getting paid or whatever. So that's nothing new, but I'm just like, wow, that's what we doing now. Like, we need a new face. I need to speed this up. So I'm gonna give you the first-hand scripted plays. I'm going to give you first-hand scripted plays. Is that good? Yeah, that's good. That's good. We'll do that. Like, how does that work? How do you contact the person? Do you just so happen to type in the wrong email? Like, how do you, and if you're on the receiving end, how many people have accepted stuff like that? How many people, or has there been anybody but like, you know what? No, we want to beat y'all fair and square. So you can keep that. And because I would be thinking like, oh, you're going to give me some bogus, intel. And then I'm thinking I'm using it to my advantage or whatever. And I'm not, right? Although I still want to win fair and square. I'm just saying like that would be my thought process to it. So, man, this college game is scary. It's real. And it doesn't just happen in college sports, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, they said we got to get them up out of there. We got to get them out of there, get them going. So, other thing we got to get going, man, is out of here. But it is time for me to hand out a Big L award.
And you are one pathetic loser.
Let's go.
We're gonna see the best collection of losers this park's seen for many a year.
La loser.
Le who? The her.
Yes! But it's time to hand out the Big L Award, the Big Loser Award, because sometimes in life people do loserous things. So this one I'm happy to give out, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm just going to get right to it. You heard me at the beginning of the show. I was talking about the Boston Celtics and Ime Udoku and the suspension and everything, and the involvement of with a woman. And everybody was just going crazy, with this. And this was my fear, and it actually happened, is that people are so quick to try and be the first. People are so quick to try and get whatever comment that they want out there on social media and put it out there for the public. Now, if you want to tell somebody privately or send something privately, hey, this is what I'm thinking or whatever, that's on you. But when you start going publicly with stuff, you got to think about the magnitude and the impact that you're putting on someone's life. And when this thing came out, I knew it was coming, and then it came, and they put out a picture of a woman, and they're talking about, this is the person. This is who he's, messing with, and all this stuff. And then people started, talking about, even before the picture came out or whatever, man, she better be better than Neil and all that stuff, right? This is just ridiculous. And then the picture that they put out, and I'm not going to put it up here because that's just ridiculous. But the picture that they put out, you have someone commenting, talking about, well, this is the only woman that's on the staff, so it has to be her. No, you fool. They said a staffer of the Boston Celtics. So that means, maybe I'm wrong, but the Boston Celtics doesn't employ just one female. Now, they're thinking about maybe who's around the team or something. It might be one female, but it could be somebody in marketing. It could be somebody in transportation. It could be somebody ahead of the concession stand and the nachos for all we know. And you're putting out a picture of someone that you have no factual evidence, and then you're wanting to attach this person to an email and start just dragging this person, right? This woman could have a boyfriend or a husband of her own or whatever. You just opens up so much for stuff that's not factual. Then it comes out that it's not her. Now you got people, now we're going to switch to, plan B, or it got to be this. Stop it. You're doing way too much. You don't need to be the first, because one, it's not even any of your business, right? It's not any of your business to be putting stuff out like that. And you just want to put it out so you got something to talk about, and not even thinking about how you're impacting someone's life. We saw what happened before where there was a rapper kind of married to, a very popular, R&B person, and came out, some things happened. They threw a name out there. Everybody went after the wrong person. It was someone else out there with the same name, and they went after the wrong person. It's just like, we got to stop with all this. I got to rush out and do things, this microwave things. Slow down. Stay in your lane. Stay in your own business and get out of other people's business. And even if it was that person, it still ain't your business. So for all those people that's out there just putting out just poo emoji images and information, you got to take this big L.
See? Another loser.
Indeed as well, Lopan. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, man. The Wait a Minute show. We done. We done for this week, right? We done for this week. We'll hit you up with some more stories next week, man. Stay out of folks' business. Focus on your own. Focus on your own path. Focus on your own goals. Focus on your own successes. I'm telling you, you do that, you can't do anything wrong, right? So we're going to get out of here, man. We'll check y'all out next time. When would that be? Whenever. Next week. But just stay tuned to the channel, man. Like, subscribe, turn on those notifications and everything. And we'll do this all again. So for your man, Jelani JB Bodie, host of the Wait a Minute show, I'll holler at y'all later. Two things as always. Stay positive and push forward. Lopan, let's go.